like that's you see the smiles on their faces, it's enough, and the thank yous is enough to let you know that you have helped people. I'm on my way to the city because Saturday today I like to do some filming around, but I wonder, it's been so traffic here in Pulang Bato. All the 10-wheelers are got more and more in this side. I think perhaps because they can't do any quarrying, or because they have to cross the river when they're quarrying because they're not allowed on that Japanese bridge. During the last 2 days, the river, I think, is full, so they cannot cross. Now they are there, all of them, causing all this traffic. And I just met Julito and Daloy. I said, how many trucks did you have? How many multi-cabs rather? And they said that was just the second lot. So that file that I'm looking at there is only their first one. So look at this, the truck just suddenly halted, because that's the trouble. If you're close to it, all the rubbles on the top of that truck will be falling over you. So that's why I usually have a distance from the back of the truck that's carrying rubbles, just in case that they suddenly stop. I'm just leaving Country Mall after I've taken my lunch before I start my filming. But I want to share with you the story that I have this morning. A man and woman come to see me because they are so worried about their losing their farm. This video is about land ownership by donation. So I want to share with you what happened this morning. A couple come and see me because they are so worried about losing their farm lot that they had been toiling for the last 20 years. Now the story of this one can be helpful to some of my OFW brothers and Filipino viewers that who will be in the same situation where they are given or donated a land from their relatives. Now this is the story. Almost 20 years ago, this farm that they are toiling right now was donated to Jaime, which is the known owner of the farm lot and house that's in there. Although the house is not really that grandiose, but it's more of the farm because it's over 2 hectares. They've been living on this farm lot with the house on the virtue that it was donated by the uncle of Jaime before the uncle migrated to Mindanao. Now, the story was, what makes them worried is, last Wednesday, there was a man that said to them that the uncle had died and he is the illegitimate child of Jaime's uncle. So the man told Jaime that, I want to include this land on the estate of my father. So you can see that the illegitimate child has been educated to know that as an illegitimate child, he now has the right to claim over the properties of the father, which is Jaime's uncle. Now they are so worried because that means they're gonna lose that farm lot that they've been toiling, where their children grow up, and that's all people around our place know that it's theirs. Actually, it's not near me, but they're somewhere near Guba. So I told them, what is your hold to prove that this farm lot is donated to you? And they said there was a agreement handwritten agreement, but as you can see, handwritten agreement, it was written in a pen 20 years on, and it's more of a verbal because you cannot read what's written in there anyway because it's so faded and it was not well preserved. So, good as it's just verbal agreement. And they're worried about that it can be included in the estate claim of this illegitimate child of their uncle. And so I told them that agreement is not valid anyway, because number one, a donation should be in a public document. So that means it's gonna be notarized, and it being a handwritten agreement, as of the moment, the state of your handwritten agreement cannot be read because it's so faded. So it's good as nothing. And so they start crying that they're gonna lose. But you told me that you've been living on this farm for over 20 years. So I said, has the land has been titled? And they said, no, it's just tax declaration. And they said, does it make a difference if it's a tax declaration or it's titled? I said, it makes a lot of difference. I said, what do you mean? So I told them that you told me you're living there for over 20 years. And that means for over 20 years, and you said that the land is not titled, you, as the people that's toiling that land, and have you paid the taxes on this one? And said, yes, we did, and I was even shown the latest tax receipt that they made for the year 2020. So very good. So you are showing me that you are occupying this land in good faith. You are the presumed owner by everyone else on this land. You have not just occupied this without doing anything. You occupy this by the virtue of thinking it was donated to you by your uncle. And so your defense now, this is not a land that your uncle owned. You are paying the taxes for almost 20 years, showing all the receipt that you do, and you've been toiling this land for so long, then you have the right to claim this land as your own. And the best thing is, this is not a registered land. So unregistered land can be acquired by anyone, especially the one that occupies it and uses it for a period of 10 years at least. Now you told me that you have occupied this one for over almost 20 years, over 20 years. That is your defense. So I refer them to my lawyer friend that will take on to their case. But the lesson for this one that I'm sharing you is, when you have a land donated to you by your uncles around here, especially the Filipinos, make sure that it is in a notarized public document. No, public documents means that the person that's notarizing, the lawyer that's notarizing your deed of sale, should have an updated notary public permit. Because that's one thing that if you want to have anything that you notarize, you look at the permit of the notarization. Number 2 is, if you are living on a tax declaration land, it's either donated or whatever, make sure that you will be paying the taxes on it. Because an unregistered land, which is tax declaration lands, or no registrations at all, can be claimed by anyone who will be paying the taxes onto it. So in this case, that for those couple that saw me this morning, they were quite relieved. Because when I told them that this land is not owned by your uncle anymore, it is owned by you. The very fact that you have all the receipt, and it only needs a few more documents to change that tax declaration to your name, it can be changed. And I said, look, changing tax declaration, barangay, these are the requirements for changing the tax declaration name. And so they were happy, and I solved their dilemma. I even referred them to my lawyer friend, and that's another way I help that is not requiring any donations from anyone. So I help people in my own way. Like I said to these attackers that I'm also trying to help, asking donation. No, I help people. Like people asking me, what do you help? I help people that with something that you cannot donate. So even if you ask your lawyers, my fellow Filipinos, these are, although land is not really the thing that is really dig up so much in law school, but they have only a few lawyers is really into the land. So I tell you that tax declarations, even if you occupy it without the title, that you should pay the taxes on it, and make sure that you establish ownership by using the land, by claiming the land, and then nobody can take it away from you, especially if you're the one sorting the taxes. You have the right to be an owner. And if you are buying tax declaration lands, that will be a different video, but I will tell you that. But I was just sharing with you the acquisitive ownership, the donated to this couple that saw me this morning. They are now the owner through acquisitive prescription. They have been toiling it for over 20 years, where in the law it's only 10 years. And so this is like the happy couple that I'm expecting, that they'll be giving me bananas and all that later on. But you know what I mean? Like, that's, you see the smiles on their faces, it's enough. And the thank yous is enough to let you know that you have helped people, not just monetary financial help, but you help them solve the dilemma that they are so boggled, and they don't want to go to a law office that will charge them by the hour. So they don't know what to do. And so I solved their dilemma for them, and then refer them, for my friend will write all the affidavit of that they will claim their tax declarations on the land, because there's a few requirements that I tell them to comply, and they're happy with it now.